There's another factor, which is Israel feels that its weakness was revealed to the Arab world because it was such a catastrophic intelligence failure on October 7th. And Israel has always, its brand has always been its intelligence, the Mossad, and the commando raids, and its, cutting edge surveillance technology. And on October 7th, it was a complete and total catastrophe. This ragtag, it's not even a guerrilla army, this ragtag, I don't even know what to call them, in a concentration camp, managed to outsmart this whole, Israelis, those commandos, those James Bonds. So there was a real need for Israel, beyond just the sheer bloodlust, to restore what Israel calls its deterrence capacity, namely the Arab world's fear of it. And there was a legitimate concern there. I have to acknowledge, I have to be faithful to facts and faithful to truth. There is a legitimate concern that now portions of the Arab world perceive Israel as being much weaker, much more vulnerable than they had hitherto imagined. October 7th shattered the image of the invincible Israel. And suddenly it dawned on a large number of people that there is a military option against Israel. There is a military option. So then, beyond the bloodlust and the anger that these Arabs, these Untermenschen, these subhumans had dared to raise their heads, had dared to outsmart us. It was the same reaction of the Nazis to the Warsaw Ghetto uprising. They were so incensed, so inflamed. These Jews resisting. And what did they do? They went in, they flattened Warsaw. So there is that element, and I don't want to deny it, what I would call bloodlust, but also anger at the anger of the Übermenschen against these Untermenschens who had raised their heads. But there is also, I do believe that's why I said, I don't think it's very pro-Israel now to egg it on, to urge it on this path, because the Arab world, or portions of the Arab world, have now become convinced that there is a military option. Namely, Israel is not the invincible state that people imagined it to be. Just yesterday, I was reading an article I think it was Haaretz, but don't quote me on it. I think it was, or another periodical, by a fellow named Chaim, Chaim, Levinson, Levinson. I think he sometimes writes for the Times, because I've noticed his byline. I'll assume, but I could be wrong, it's the same person. And he said, well, we always brag about, he's Israeli, we always brag about our army being the strongest in the world. We're the toughest in the world. And then I was surprised. He said, in fact, we have a very mediocre army. It's the truth. I knew that. Israel, the head of Hezbollah, Sayed Nasrallah, he said in one of his post-October 7th speeches, he says, the only thing Israel is capable of is carrying out massacres. And that's true. Israel can only carry out high-tech massacres. It does not have a fighting force anymore. I don't particularly blame them. They're like you. You're a young man. You have a beautiful home. No, it's true. You're a young man, you have a beautiful home, you're attending Stanford University, you have a whole future ahead of you. You are, I assume, from comments you made in passing, you're secular in your mental orientation. Do you want to die in a war? No, not
No.
really. And that's most Israelis. Now, they're willing to go in after Israel has demolished everything, like now they're in the north, a part of Gaza. Israel has pretty much demolished everything. They go in, wreck everything. And so, yes, some of them are going to die, but not many. I think the current number is 168 Israelis. And I think that number includes the number who were killed on October 7th, combatants who were killed when people who are technically military people when the uh, outbreak from um, Gaza occurred. So they're not a fighting force because they don't want to die. They don't.